When it comes to money, there's always more to learn. The truth is that no one, especially in their 20s, knows everything about money. At this point in their lives, young adults could use all the financial advice available. So, are you in your 20s or older? Do you want to learn the harsh realities of money? If yes, then sit back and watch this video to the end, as I share a few hard truths about money that everyone wishes they knew in their 20s. Before I get to the good stuff, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't. With that said, let us get to our topic of the day. Everyone, no matter how old they are or how much money they have, needs to know how to handle money. When you're young, you have a lot of freedom, yet if you spend your money irresponsibly, that freedom may wind up costing you a lot of money. That means that the money choices you make when you're young can affect you for a long time. That's why it's important to start good money habits in your 20s, so you can benefit from them later. But then again, your 20s aren't exactly easy, particularly when it comes to money. At 20, you're probably financially independent for the first time in your life, with fewer responsibilities and disposable income to spend whenever you want. However, the danger comes in when you are clueless about the fundamentals of personal finance, because you were never taught in school. The fact of the matter is, managing your money does not have to be complicated. In fact, creating a solid financial foundation for your later years may be simpler than you think. All you need to do is learn the basics of personal finance that you can apply, such as developing good spending and saving habits, learning how to invest and budget, and so on. The end objective is to stay away from debt that isn't essential and take advantage of compound interest to build wealth over time. So here's a list of 5 hard truths about money that everyone wishes they knew in their 20s. And if you're in your 20s or older, take advantage of this video and learn a few hacks that will help you improve your financial situation in the future. Here we go. Number 1. Budgeting is key. When it comes to your income, one of the first hard lessons you'll learn is that if you don't plan for your money, life will, and not in a good way. To avoid such unpleasant surprises, you need to learn how to budget. Budgeting is key, and it will help you learn how to live within your means. Getting your financial house in order is as simple as understanding the fundamentals of money management, such as how to save, invest, avoid debt traps, and budget, among others. A budget makes it easy for you to create a strategy for meeting your goals and specific targets. It also helps you allocate resources and decrease waste, enabling you to live the life you want. And on top of that, it helps you maintain a record of where your money has gone. And with this info, you can make better decisions about where it should go in the future. If all this sounds good to you, here's how you go about it. To start off, you can make a new budget each month and decide where you want your money to go. It may be frightening to learn and see how much you actually spend. However, if you pay no heed to your spending, you'll eventually find yourself living paycheck to paycheck without even realizing it. Of course, the first few months of budgeting will not be easy, but you must understand that not being perfect at it is normal and part of the learning process. Like anything else in life, if you want to get better at something, you must practice. The more you practice, the more you learn about your expenses, motivation, and how to manage your income. However, all this starts with creating a budget to determine whether you have an income problem or bad spending habits. Once you've identified your areas of weakness, you can make various positive financial changes to boost your cash flow. Number 2. You need an emergency fund. A recent survey of younger and older Americans revealed that 50% had less than $500 in the bank, or no emergency savings fund at all. This is pretty astonishing news. One of the main money lessons you ought to learn in your 20s is that you need an emergency fund. Accidents, medical emergencies, loss of a loved one, unemployment, and emergency home repairs are all examples of unexpected financial emergencies. These unforeseen bills, no matter how large or small, always seem to arrive at the most inconvenient times. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's why you need an emergency fund. It's one of the best ways to protect yourself from such situations. It's also one of the simplest ways to begin saving. Setting aside even a small amount of money for these unexpected expenses can help you recover faster and get back on track with your important savings goals. Saving money for an emergency fund in your 20s can be difficult, especially when money is tight. But one thing that can make it easier for you is to be specific about the expenses you need the emergency fund to cover. This will give you a clear guide on how much money to set aside. Research indicates that people who struggle to recuperate from a financial crisis often have fewer money reserves to protect them from future emergencies. Hence, they rely on credit cards or take out loans, usually at high interest, which leads to debt that may be harder to repay. So do not let this be your reality. Instead, start up an emergency fund as soon as you can. Number 3. Paying off debt builds a good credit score. Whether it's medical bills, credit card debt, or student loans, you must understand that debt does not go away on its own. You'll need to come up with a plan to get yourself out of this situation. The longer you wait to pay off your debt, the more money you'll owe due to interest charges. If you don't pay back your loans on time, it could hurt your credit score and make it harder for you to get bigger personal loans in the future. So, how do you fix this? Before you start planning, you need to figure out who and how much you owe before you start planning. Prepare a list of all of your debts, no matter how small, including the unpaid balance, interest rate, and due dates for each creditor. Having a thorough understanding of your payment responsibilities will help you prioritize and figure out the best payment method to use. Secondly, try to increase your monthly payments if you can. Paying more than the required minimum amount could help you save money on interest throughout the duration of the loan. You'll be able to pay off your debt faster because you'll be making more payments each month. Review your monthly budget to see how much you can afford to pay. Then, set up automatic transfers so that when money lands in your bank account, you can make frequent and gradual repayments. If you're enjoying this video so far, show some support and give it a thumbs up. Thank you. Number 4. Save for retirement. In your 20s, putting money aside for a retirement fund may not be at the top of your financial priority list. Yet, if you want to be successful in the long run, you need to start putting money away for your retirement as soon as you get your first job. When it comes to saving money for retirement, it's best to start early so that you can take advantage of the power of compound interest. With compounding, you can save a little now and earn a lot in the future. Let me give you a simple example of the incredible power of compound interest. Assuming 2 people, 1 a 26-year-old and 2 a 35-year-old, who both plan to retire at age 65. The first person, the 26-year-old, started investing $2,000 per year for 10 straight years, then stopped at the age of 36. The second person, the 35-year-old, started investing $2,000 per year for 30 years. Now here's the mind-blowing news. The first person, who only invested for 10 years at the age of 65, had more money than the second person, who invested the same amount as the first person, but for 30 years. That's 3 times more than the first guy, yet he had less money. That, my friends, is the power of compound interest. Essentially, the person who began saving earlier will make more money than the one who started later. This is because when you start saving early, your money has more time to compound. Therefore, when negotiating your compensation package, you should consider asking for this job perk. However, if your employer does not offer a 401k, or if you're self-employed, there are alternative retirement plans to consider. A good target to work toward is to set aside 15% of your income for retirement savings. If you're unable to commit this much right away, don't worry. You can work up to it, as your income grows and your debts are paid off. Number 5. You don't need a lot of money to invest. Once you've paid off your debts and set up an emergency fund, you should now think about how to make your money grow. In your 20s, it's hard to imagine what your life will be like in a few years. However, this is the perfect time to invest in an asset. When it comes to personal finance and making investments, it's extremely important to build a foundation for your future while you are still young. By wisely distributing your surplus income, you can accumulate wealth and the free will to live the life you've always wanted. However, before you think of investing, you first need to improve your financial literacy. Then you can apply it. To achieve this, you must actively seek resources that teach you about the various asset classes to invest in, risk assessment, asset allocation, and how to improve your capacity to obtain the principal amounts needed to make investments. As a young professional, you have the advantage of time. Therefore, you can take big risks and easily recover from any possible losses, unlike someone over the age of 40. While learning and applying investing skills, keep in mind that you should look beyond basic investment products. For example, you could place your emergency savings in a savings account or join a savings group to improve your chances of qualifying for large personal loans when needed. Like I mentioned earlier, investing increases the value of your assets after a while. When you invest, you put your money into investments like stocks, bonds, collective investment schemes, and real estate, among others. While all investment opportunities involve some level of risk, diversifying your assets shields you from market fluctuations and even potentially disastrous losses. Nevertheless, you're never too young to invest. In fact, the younger you are, the better your chances are if you follow the right advice. Honestly, it's not easy to achieve any kind of balance in your 20s. It definitely requires some time for you to figure things out. Hopefully, the money lessons in this video will serve as a starting point for you to achieve financial freedom now and in the future. Now I have a question for you. Did you identify with any of the hard truths about money I mentioned in this video? And are there others you believe we should have included? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Well, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't. With that said, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.